Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the channel. Excuse my voice, I've got a bit of a cold, and we're doing episode 133 of the Emergency Storage Shed Cleanout series. This week's episode seems to follow on from last week like it was only yesterday, and it almost was, because last week's was late. This week's is early. We don't have a Monday Marathon episode to do this week because there wasn't anything to pick up from the charity shop. So those that follow my channel will understand that. Those that have just joined will have no idea what I'm talking about. But today, we have to get something out of this emergency storage shed. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, doesn't matter. We're going to find something to discover out of this shed, work out what we're going to do with it, see if we can get some good value, and importantly, make some space here. For those that did watch the last episode know that we finally got the old mangle out and assembled. I haven't even got it to the shop yet. And this is how we left the shed. So we're making really good inroads down the middle. This side has been totally neglected. You know, I've got to neglect something. And this side, we've been moving shelving across and putting projects and things on it. So we're getting a bit more organised. Now, I mentioned last time that we'll deal with this cupboard when we have a moment, and when we also dig out that other cream coloured cupboard in there. We'll do them both together. At the moment, this red and black one's holding up this pile of boxes, so that's what really our attention should be drawn to. I don't want to have a bit of an avalanche in here. I don't know if anything's fragile. The fact that that box says glass does not mean a thing. We've got some pictures and prints at the top, so I guess in this episode we probably should try and reduce the height of that stack. Whether we swap from one side to the other and work our way down those two piles, because they seem the most precarious, and the cardboard boxes have started to compact over the years. Now these have been here probably about 2 years now since I had to leave my old shop and it all got moved in a hurry. So the cardboard's really done well, because sometimes people stacking here and helping me out weren't so aware of weight restrictions on cardboard, let's say. Anyway, I would appreciate all the help I got. Let's start at the top here. We'll move those frames into the bench and have a look at them. And that plastic army crate, that could be interesting. Let's get those through first and sort out what's inside. Okay, here we go, straight off the top of the pile. I haven't looked at them. I expect them to be a bit dirty on top. Oh, yes, they are. And we'll have to work out if they're valuable paintings, if they're just prints, why I even decided to put them in my storage shed rather than just sell them straight off. We'll go through those shortly, and we'll need to clean them up. Okay, I didn't realise these were so big. So there's certainly some age to some of them. I didn't even look at those. I'll see if there's any more, and we'll sort out all this artwork first before we get that army tub. I want to do that one in this episode too. Okay, so I just checked. There's no more prints and frames, and these being as heavy as they were probably contributed to the condensing of the cardboard boxes. All right, I'll adjust the camera and let's have a look at each of them and see what we're going to do. That should be okay. Let's hope we don't get too much reflection. What's this one? It's got glass in it. Oh, that's quite an old one. We're going to get a lot of reflection, I think. It's, I think may have been reframed. It's got a gold matte. I think it's probably an original painting, but unlikely that it's going to be a valuable one, but it's better than a print, I guess. Let's see if this one's the same. It looks as, yes. So another matching one. Most likely an original painting. They're quite good. They should sell all right. This was the one that was on top, and it's very dirty. It's got non-reflective glass in it, which you can tell, but also it's got a big layer of non-reflective dust on it and grime. I think this is a formula painting. It's a Parisian type scene, very typical of Chinese formula paintings. It's probably an original, but probably still not worth a great deal. Just a decorator item, really. It's a bit more modern. It's probably 1980s or so, judging from the frame, and that's when they started doing a lot of formula paintings and flooding the market with those sort of things. Now this one doesn't have glass in it because it's much lighter. It's an older painting as well. It's similar style to the other ones. It looks like it could be Blue Mountains in Australia. Don't think it's got a lot of value. Probably not worth trying to cut a piece of glass for it. And this one's the same. So they might have all come from the same place. possibly all the same artist. So I'll have to check them a bit more. This one doesn't have glass either. I could possibly cut some glass for them, but is it worth it? That's the trouble. The back on this one's pretty terrible. I think they're a reasonable age. That's just a packing board. Sometimes other paintings do get used as packing behind paintings, and it's been known that the packing one behind it is more valuable than the one in front, so it's probably worth checking. Yeah, all right, I'll clean these up and we'll work out what we're going to do. I'm not keeping any of this. It's all going to be for sale. We're just going to move it on. I've got these two glassed oil paintings up on the deck and facing away so that we don't get very much reflection. It's been really difficult to try and organise. You can still see some reflection, but I've got no lights on and I'm just using the fading light of the sun. They're nice. They are really nice. They're Australian paintings, and I managed to identify the artist. And I'll see if I can get you a close-up. I don't remember if I did before. And you probably aren't. Oh, there we go. It actually says DGB. So it's initials. Our camera's having trouble adjusting the focus. This other one's exactly the same. If I scoot along here and try and zoom in on this side, and we'll get a focus eventually. There we go. That's actually quite good. DGB. It's D. George Bell. And apparently he was known as a landscape painter from the 1880s through to the 1920s. A lot of Tasmanian scenes. That one's most likely Tasmania. That one could be anywhere. It's depicting a swaggy going down a trail to a typical farmhouse. So, beautiful bush scenes of Australia. Genuine early paintings are oil paintings. It's got the original gold matte. I found one online with the same gold matte. And these frames, I think, have been repainted or wiped over with something to give a bit of a different finish. I think they would have been gold originally as well as the one I found online. As far as value goes, well, I'm not sure. Hello, Coco. Welcome to the camera. He's not a valuable artist, as in I couldn't find any good results. I found some that had sold. A lot of the art websites won't give you an actual value unless you register. And the price of art really is super subjective. Unless you're an absolutely really famous name, no matter how good your paintings are, they don't tend to get very much. But I'm going to price these two at $150 each in the shop. I think that's probably reasonably cheap, but I don't want to send them to auction. And the right person that loves Australian art, I think, will snap these up. Now I've just turned the lights on. We don't need to worry about reflection so much now. They are fairly average. They really need reframing and fixing up a bit. The paintings themselves aren't damaged, but the backing board here is torn. You can see the original little square tapered nails they used in the early 1900s, and you can see that the frame has definitely been repainted. So that one's probably the worst. The other one's a bit better. It did say something on the back as to where it was, and I couldn't quite make it out. I'm pretty sure it finishes with Vic for Victoria. And it's possibly the name of a river or something. I can't make that, or a mountain. It might say Mount something. But yeah, that would have identified it. And it's difficult working with dogs, isn't it? Now we'll have a look at the other two that don't have glass. I don't have any reflection issues there. These are also Australian. And this one I identified as the Blue Mountains, just a guess. But it actually is. And I have actually been there. That's Orphan Rock at Katoomba. And it is written on the back, but this artist is different, and I haven't been able to identify this one. There's our signature. So I haven't been able to work that one out. If anyone wants to do that, that would be awesome. And the other one by the same artist, the mark is that side. And that one is in Victoria, and the reason I know that, it's the Glenelg River, is I can actually decipher the writing on the back of them. So here's this one, and it actually says Glenelg River, Casterton, Victoria. So that one is decipherable, but I don't know the artist. And the other one, which I had worked out, does say Orphan Rock, Katoomba. I think it says New South Wales. I can't quite make it out now in this light. So I've identified where those ones are, but I don't know the artist. Value-wise on these, well, they're a similar era. The frames have been retouched, I think, again, and the matte has been painted. Not very well. May have been gold originally too. even though I'm pretty sure that's a different artist, but they did all come from the same house. So if they're all purchased new in the 20s, the owner may have decided to repaint the frames and the mat. And then, unfortunately, the glass has probably been broken on these too. So I'm going to put $50 each on these because the paintings themselves are quite okay and they could be reframed. But we just don't know the artist. And the other ones, I think, 150 each. And the last remaining painting, I think, is a real painting. I don't think it's a print, but it is glazed in non-reflective glass. But it is, I think, just like a generic sort of formula type painting, which you see a lot of, and I think it probably dates to the 80s. Couldn't work out, there is a bit of a signature there, but I couldn't work it out at all. So I'm just going to put something like $30 on that, pretty much just as a decorative painting. But I think the others hold a bit more value, being a bit of Australian history and, well, Australian artists, or certainly Australian subject, as far as landscaping goes. I would imagine these two would be an Australian artist, given that they're both local area scenes. So there we go, not a bad haul. Take a while to sell them, I've got to find the right person, but I think it'll be quite achievable. With all of those paintings down, it's time to get this plastic tub. It's an army box, they're like a storage box. I picked up a heap from some guy's shed years ago and they had all sorts of stuff in them, most of it junk, but I've been using them for storage, for even radio valves and all sorts of things, because they stack really well, they're strong. They probably date to the 70s maybe, or 80s. Army issue. Now this one is a bit dirty on top. I haven't looked in it, so let's have a peek. The light's not very good here, but we'll see what's inside. There we go, I think we're right now. What's that? Is that an old radio? Little transistor radio? Not sure what's in the front. Let's get it into the bench and have a look with some better light. There probably are all radios in here. I've just always had an interest in them, right from a kid, having a little crystal set and mucking around with electronics in the 70s or so. Righto. Oh, are they clock radios? They are too. That's a pretty cool one. Wood grain finish, very dirty and it's lost a lot of its silver paint. But it seems undamaged otherwise. Can't see a brand on it. It says Gaff Control. They're usually a Copel, aren't they? Is that how you say it? COPEL is one of the main brands. This is exactly the same model. Interesting. I don't know where they came from. Not sure what sort of value they're going to have. I suggest they're probably 1970s, maybe into the 80s. Probably got a red LED display. Gaff Control, is that the brand? Made in Hong Kong. Could be late 70s then. Electronic alarm clock radio. Never heard of Gaff Control, or at least I can't remember hearing it. And this one, Sweater, large format, large digital clock radio, probably a bit newer, made in China. Let's have a look at the plug. It's probably 1990s, so that's not as interesting, and it looks like it's been melted on the corner there, and it's quite badly scuffed. I mean, that is dust, but it's also got some bad marks across it that run quite deep into that acrylic. So don't think we're going to be doing much with that one, but the other two might be interesting to get going. And that's all I've got in here. Well, we may as well plug them in and see if they work before we finish this video up. Okay, it's time to give some electrical juice to these things and just see what they do. I'll just run my fingers down the cords here to make sure there's no damage, because they're going to be worth so little, I think, that it wouldn't be worth putting a new cord on. So if I found a damaged cord, I'd probably just scrap them. Not that there's any really value in here anyway for scrap. 70s era clock radios can get some pretty good money. I did look up this brand, Gaff Control. I only found some similar models to these that were in perfect condition and someone was trying to get $25 for and they weren't selling. So they're not a desirable collectible. Anyway, this one's plugged in. Let's power it up. All right, we have some life. Oh, the volume control is full of dirt and it doesn't now want to work. We did have some static. They're only an AM radio, so they're probably mid-70s, maybe even early 70s, 70s sometime. I think by the late 70s into the 80s, we had FM radios on just about everything as well. This is only AM. I can't get anything now. So the volume control's very dodgy, needs a clean out. But I think the thing will work, just not at the moment. Looks like the actual clock's going to work with the flashing red LEDs. Can we like set the time or something? Yep. All right, so that responds okay. So it's going to be okay as a clock. AM radio only. This one, little aluminium surround here has come loose and it's sort of stretched. We could possibly glue it back down. I'm not going to go to that much trouble. I'm just going to wipe it over so it's a bit cleaner. I'll try and spray some deoxide into the volume because I think that's all it's needed. There's only 2 screws to take it apart. Maybe I should do that and try and spray some stuff in there. At least then it'll be operational, but I'm probably only going to ask $10 for it. Let's see if the other one works. What's this on? Has that fallen off one? That was stuck over the battery compartment, was it? I didn't notice. Well, there's actually no terminals for a battery. Maybe that was an option, but they didn't go ahead with it. Who knows? It's odd. Maybe it was just somewhere to stash your gold ring or something. Anyway, I guess we can glue that back. Looks like it just had double-sided tape or something on it. Okay, well, it will work, I think, if we can clean the volume. But that's probably more trouble than I really wanted to go with. We'll plug this one in as well. This one's missing that aluminium piece. You can see the glue where it used to be, and you can see the screws around the switch, whereas the other one you can't. So, okay, and underneath it doesn't have a model number thing. And again, no terminals for the batteries. Maybe that wasn't for a battery at all. Maybe that was for like an earphone to plug into or something, or to, you know, keep, reside. This one looks like it's got some chewing gum stuck to the side of it. Weren't you supposed to leave your chewing gum on the bedpost overnight, not under your clock radio? All right, let's plug this one in. Maybe this radio might work. Looks like the clock's going to. It's dirty as well. But it is going to work. Yeah. So we're going to pick up some stations here. Oh, the tuning control shaft's been bent. The knob's on a bit of an angle. It still is dirty. So both of the volume pots need a clean. Let's turn that off. The clocks work, the radios almost work, and they're filthy dirty. I will clean them up a little bit. I will spray the pots. Hopefully they come good, and we'll try and get $10 each. But not very exciting. Now, this other one. It's not exciting at all. I'm guessing it's going to have really big numbers here. Let's plug it in. Oh yeah, huge numbers. Very dim though. They're flashing on and off. Not sure how they're responding to the camera. Can we get them to stop flashing? Oh, there we go. So we can set the time by the looks of it, but that's... Even cleaning that, it's going to be very hard to read because it's so scuffed. It's been melted all around this corner. Is it a radio as well? I don't think it is. I think it's just a clock. Got a battery compartment, which would... Oh, it's got a battery in it, goodness me. This is just for the memory if the power goes out. It's a Duracell. Oh, the terminal pulled clean off. So obviously that battery is no good. Well, there we go. I bet you it was flat. I was going to stick it on my tongue. I'm not now. All right, so the terminal's stuck in there. That's not really an issue, but I'm thinking, given the state of this and the scratches on the front and the fact that it's only a clock, I'm going to cut the cord off and put that in the e-waste. It's not worth trying to sell in that condition. Okay, I might as well film this. I just took the chewing gum off, however, I think it's probably blue tack. And both screws were missing in this one. It's got one inside this little compartment. So we'll pop it open and have a look inside. Purely for interest's sake. And given that it's only one screw, alright, why won't that come out? What's holding that in? Oh, okay. Someone, look at this. That's one of the mounting posts. Someone has tried to drill the head off the screw, and then eventually they've broken it off. But I still can't get the thing off here. I think we're supposed to take these knobs off this end, but that one's been glued on or something, because that was the one that was bent. I reckon it's been broken off and someone's glued it on, because that button will pull off, but there's no way known that's going to come off. Oh, okay. No way known except by pulling harder, and then it comes off. So I think that broke. Someone had glued that in, I think. There's a broken bit of plastic there. I don't think I did that. So now the top comes off. What a mess. So someone's definitely been in here. Well, on the plus side, the circuitry looks okay. I wonder if we can fix up the volume and put it back together, because I haven't really broken anything. But remember, it's only got one screw to hold the whole casing together. I think I'm going to scrap this one. I don't think it's worth trying to sell for $10, given that the casing is only held in by one screw and the shaft was bent on the tuning. I might keep it for parts. No, then I'm going to clutter up my shed with something that even in good condition isn't worth anything. Just going to scrap it. I'm going to take the transformer off. There's nothing on the circuit board I want. I'll chop the wire off it. And this case is probably worse than the other one. That's fine. This one's going to be scrapped. Let's get into this one. See if things are a bit better. This one does have both the screws in it. Okay, now we know we have to pull these knobs off. That one's okay. The button should come off okay. That's fine. And let's hope this one, oh, well, that's much easier. All right, so the other one had been glued up. Didn't actually break it, but for some reason it held on super tight. I think it had been glued. Anyway, this one's coming apart as it should so far. Oh, there we go. All right, we don't need to take it apart any further than that. At least this one's undamaged, but it's very dirty in the volume, and that was bad. We'll get some spray into that and see if we can fix that up. Not sure how we're going to get it in. We can just spray everywhere and hope. All right, we'll try some power on. It is getting better. I think I'll keep working at it for a bit. All right, that's improved it a lot, actually. Okay, it's better. It's probably as good as it's going to get, unless we take the pot out, and no, it's still going to give a bit of crackle at certain spots.
How are you going to get the side of the money? They have no political power. They can't talk openly.
But at least it's usable, so that's good. I can sell it at that. I don't want to go to the trouble of trying to pull that out any further. And that's all I'm going to fix with that, so I'll turn it off. We'll put the thing back together. Okay, well, 1 out of 3 ain't bad. We've got one complete and ready to sell. It cleaned up okay. I didn't get the dust out from behind the screen. And I did start cleaning this front aluminium panel, and it was taking the writing off. So you can still, in the right light, make out that that says on, off, auto. You can still read the others. So I didn't touch that anymore. Cleaned up the speaker grill a bit. That's where most of the dirt was. The volume control, the tuner, and the radio buzzer switch. And it presents pretty well, really, considering it's probably just a cheap unit. If we turn it on, and the volume works pretty well, and the tuning works well, and it gets a few channels, actually, considering it's just AM, and we don't get many AM stations around here these days. bit staticky, but there's no crackle from the volume anymore, so that was a pretty easy fix. And yeah, look, the time works. It looks kind of retro. I think we'll probably be able to sell it fairly well. In fact, I think we could probably nearly ask a bit more for it now that I've gone to trouble of cleaning it up. We might try 20, but then again, there's no FM radio, so maybe a collector will buy it. You could touch the silver up. It could actually be brought back better than this. I don't know. What'll I do? I think I write 15 down on it in the shop. At least I know that it tests safe and it works as well as it was supposed to when it was new. Just looks a bit secondhand, like most of us when we get a bit older. Okay, let's finish things up today. We have our one and only surviving clock radio to sell. We have some cords and a transformer and the 2 carcasses there going to e-waste and a battery for recycle. Before we get to the notepad, let's have one more look at those paintings. Okay, I've spread them out in the studio just so you can get a side-by-side view. Just after your opinions, do you think this is the same artist? Those two definitely are, and those two definitely are. I did some better photos of the signatures on these other ones. I'll show them on screen now. They do look like initials, but they're not the same format as the other ones. So I think they are different artists, but they are Australian and they are all 1920s. In fact, one of those signatures had a 21 under it, which would be for 1921. So really nice, genuine antique Australian art. Antique, given that they're now 100 years old plus. So yeah, we'll see how we go with those through the shop, but I'm pretty happy to get them out of my shed, and that's probably why I saved them in the first place, because they did need further research. They weren't just cheap common prints. And that does bring us to the notepad for this episode, where we see a total of $445 potentially netted from our discoveries today in the emergency storage shed. I wasn't expecting that with the oil paintings. The more I look at them, the more I like them, but I'm going to be tough and I'm going to try and pass them on. So there we go, not too bad. Ducking back through a couple of episodes just for interest, we had the mangle, which I haven't still got set up at the shop. It's actually in the van now, so I will get that set up this coming weekend. And our vintage computer stuff the week before, well, I've managed to sell the floppy drive and the hard disk drives to Bob in Tasmania. So thanks, Bob. And thank you for everyone's input on my dilemma as to what to do with vintage hard drives. A few people said yes, some computer guys like them, and Bob was certainly one, and he will reformat them. There's no issues there with the data. But I think in future, basically that worked out at $5 each. I'm going to get $5 for the magnets, so I think in the future I will scrap them out. We might even do a video on them if I get a heap of old 1990s ones again, because they're pretty cool circuit boards, and I think they've got pretty good sized magnets in those old ones. And I might even have something that I can do with the actual discs themselves. So we will investigate that in the future, but I don't think I'll try and sell them anymore. And by pulling them apart, or at least scrapping them as such, that makes sure the data is preserved or protected. So there we go, nothing else gone out of that lot so far. And I don't need to go back any further through the pages. We've sold a few things, but this series isn't about liquidating, it's about discovering. So we're going pretty well there. I am, though, going to take some photos of things out of each of these episodes, and I'll photograph those paintings as well. And I'll put the photos on my shop Facebook page. I actually have a shop Facebook page I built up years ago, and I don't even log in anymore. And yet I had like 2,500 followers or something. And I know local people do sometimes send me a message on there. So I may as well share photos on there. We might make a sale, who knows. So my shop is actually called, my Facebook page is called Sundries Too Numerous to Mention. And same as that's with my eBay name as well, although I have an underscore between each word from eBay. But I'm not going to eBay hardly any of this. I'm certainly not going to try the paintings. I don't think it's worth the effort. But I will put photos on my shop Facebook page as well. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Now our total, given that we've had to add the price of the mangle from last week, and we've got 445 this week, we're up to $22,970 as a total from out of that storage shed so far. And we've been pulling out some pretty good value stuff recently. Really keen to see what's in that pile of assorted mystery boxes. We'll be getting to some of those next week. Now that I've got these paintings and prints off the top, we can start working down those piles of boxes. Hope you want to join me for that one. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.